Well, super pictures out there. Hello and welcome to Horse Sense here in Singapore. I'm Mohit Lalvani for a new season of Horse Sense. Well, there's plenty on tap today because this is the biggest and most prestigious weekend of horse racing here in Singapore. It is the SAIC, the Singapore Airlines International Cup weekend, and 3 Group 1 races for you. We begin this one, well, with our first two, the Chris Flyer Sprint and the Singapore Airlines International Cup. The Group 1 Chris Flyer International Sprint saw 9 horses come into the parade ring for the contest to be run over 1200 meters on the 17th of May. And 9 will go to the start for the $1 million Chris Flyer International Sprint International Group 1 race over 1200 meters. Number 1 is Lucky 9, trained by Casper Founds, ridden by Brett Preble and drawn 2. Number 2, Aero Velocity from Hong Kong, Zach Burton, Paul O'Sullivan, drawn 3. Number 3, Rich Tapestry, ridden by Olivier Deleuze, drawn 6. Number 4, El Padrino, Alvin Tan, Oscar Chavez, drawn 9. Number 5, Zach Spirit from Cliff Brown's stable, Joe Moreira back in town to ride this one, drawn 5. Number 6, Emperor Max, ridden by Corey Brown, trained by Stephen Gray, drawn 1. Number 7, Magneto from Pat Shaw stable, Juglal picks up the ride, drawn 8. Number 8 is Hototo, ridden by Morris, trained by Fauzi Nas, drawn 7. And the field's made up by number 9, Kiwi Karma from Michael Clemens' stable, ridden by Manuel Nunes, and drawn 4. Number 1, Lucky 9, who had made the trip from Hong Kong, had taken out this race the last 2 years and would be looking at a three-peat, having drawn number 2. Looking very much the part on the parade ring, his connections were confident about his chances. His compatriot, Aero Velocity, was the favourite here and the one most likely to deny him the record. With recent victories in a Group 1 in Japan and a Group 1 sprint in Hong Kong at the end of last year, clearly was one that acclimatized easily and would not be too concerned about the fact that he was debuting in Singapore.
Yeah, no, everything's great. Facilities are fantastic here. Horse appears to have settled in well, fed well. His work was pretty normal for him this morning. So, we're going to go in there, with some degree of optimism.
Rich Tapestry, also from Hong Kong, was coming to this contest on the back of a third in the Group 1 Dubai Golden Shaheen on World Cup Day, and a repeat of that could see him in the winner's circle here, while the speed horse Hototo was coming into the contest looking to shrug off a disappointing 15th in the Group 1 Ulco Sprint at Meydan over 200 meters less. Flying the flag for Singapore were El Padrino, Zach Spirit, Emperor Max, Magneto, and Kiwi Karma. El Padrino had run 4th behind Rich Tapestry in the Golden Shaheen and would now be looking at using home ground advantage to find a bit more. Main hopes, however, lay with Zach Spirit and Emperor Max, not to mention Kiwi Karma. The 3 had faced off against each other in the Group 1 Lion City Cup over 1200 meters on the 26th of April, and with almost nothing separating the 3 on that occasion, it had been Zach Spirit in 2nd, with Emperor Max in 3rd and Kiwi Karma in 4th. Kiwi Karma, the youngest of the field and the only filly, would have to give her very best performance against the older and stronger boys to win here today, but known for her spirit and guts, was not one to be taken lightly under any circumstances.
Well, it's probably better to draw 1 because I think there'll be a lot of speed and the speed will come out wide. The only problem is he just has to hold a spot early, which he can do. And he's not a horse that has to lead, so he should get a good spot. And if he can jump away, they can't come across and take the spot, can they? But if he misses a jump and gets back, well, he might be in a bit of a problem and get pushed too far back. But I think we're better drawn there for this race and at this stage here.
Yeah, look, I'm fine with all of it. I'm happy with him. He seems really well. He looks really good and his work's good. And the barrier, I think, is perfect. Yeah, There's good speed inside him, there's good speed outside him, and he'll probably find himself in a really good spot midfield, and that'll be super.
Well, it was a big test for her last time running in her first Group 1 against the older horses, and of course going into that race we were a bit sceptical as to how she would do, but she came through that race with flying colours, and of course going into tomorrow's race again, probably going up another notch, another level. Yet again there's some questions to be asked, but yeah, she doesn't look like much. She's as you say, a 3-year-old filly. On top of that, she's relatively small and light framed. But she gets a saddle on her back and gets into a race, and she totally changes. She's very strong, very courageous. She fights, and she just wants to be there. She just loves racing, and odds are against her tomorrow. She's come through her last run extremely well. She's really bright. She's been eating up all her food, and I feel she's going to go through to the race with a great chance tomorrow.
With that, the horses left the parade ring with Aero Velocity is the favourite.
Gates are back, they're racing in the Crest Flyer away fairly quickly as Aero Velocity. Also Emperor Max with good speed over on the inside, and Lucky 9 again broke beautifully. Kiwi Karma going up on the outside. Zach Spirit is going to be restrained just across their tails, followed by Magneto. Rich Tapestry, Toto can't go with them early on, and 4 lengths away to El Padrino as they turn downside. 800 metres to go. Zach Purton took Aero Velocity to the lead. Kiwi Karma up on the outside in the breeze. Emperor Max over on the inside. Now Toto whipped around the outside. Lucky 9 copped a check at that point. Rich Tapestry goes up wider. Zach Spirit. Then came Magneto. So Lucky 9 second to last, ridden for luck. And El Padrino comes to the outside. 400 metres to go. Kiwi Karma goes up to Eyeball. Aero Velocity, Emperor Max down the outside. Rich Tapestry, Lucky 9 looking for a way through. Zach Spirit trying to finish on as Aero Velocity the leader. Emperor Max running a great race on the outside. Lucky 9 can't go on with it. Rich Tapestry down the outside, but Aero Velocity is clear over Emperor Max, and Aero Velocity is going to take that Crest Flyer. Aero Velocity for Zach Purton into the length and a half. Emperor Max another second in the big race.
To sort of do a little bit of work to get across early, and Zach rode him very confidently. In fact, I thought too confidently, but he's a horse that he loves a fight, and he said, "Oh, you just hold him up and let him get to him." He said as soon as he can see them, he dug in. But he seems to think he won with a little bit of in hand, without trying to sound arrogant. But I'm just reporting what the jock said. But we're very proud of him, very proud.
Talking about what the jock said, when they turned for home, you had the filly on your outside, you had everything behind you, and he was just sitting on him, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, that's I would have preferred to have seen him set him alight a little bit earlier, but the horse has got a very good turn of foot, and Zach understands him very well. So yeah, it was a pretty cheeky ride, I think.
He's had a long season. What next for him?
Well, really, time-wise, he has had a long season, but that's only his 6th run. I planned a 6-race program with the idea of possibly going to Japan and then coming to Singapore and leaving. We probably turned down 3 or 4 domestic races in Hong Kong, just to space them out to peak him for these 2. So he's sort of peaked up every time. So the horse has done a good job.
And what next for him?
He'd be spelling in his boxing charts, and so it's nothing very exciting. Of course, he's up for the bonus next year with the race in Hong Kong. Sprinter Series in Japan is an option, but I haven't really planned anything beyond the end of this season. He's owned by a very, very easy owner. And they got pretty excited in Japan. The Sprinter Series will surely come up in our conversations, but with that bonus, I think we really should focus on that and have him at his peak in December in Hong Kong.
He's been a special horse to me. You don't ride too many horses of the calibre of this guy that, just gives 100% every time he races, even in defeat. He tries his guts out. He's the most courageous horse I've ever ridden. Paul's done a great job handling the horse. Full credit's got to go to him and his stable. He's an exceptional horseman, and I'm just a lucky one to be on him.
So happy we all the way come here, and then I got lots of audience with us, and one of the moments that to remember.
Now, when he turned for home, that filly was on his outside, but he was just sitting so effortlessly, wasn't he? What were you thinking then?
Well, I was a little bit lost because we were not, supposed to do it like this, but maybe just to Zach think his good form, he has the natural speed. Well, I just believe him. That's it.
How have you enjoyed Singapore? Obviously, you had a super time.
Yes, indeed. Very happy. Thank you very much. We will be back.
An extremely exciting sprint this year, and one that has many stories to tell. To begin with, the second horse home, Emperor Max, has possibly run the biggest race of his career, and this second was even more impressive than last year's. Corey Brown had him in the perfect position, and Gray had him tuned to perfection. The best form in the race did come from the winner, and he was impressive. He travelled well out of the gates, and even while Kiwi Karma on his outside came off the bridle in the straight, he was still on a tight rein under Zach Burton. It was always a matter of time once Burton pushed the button. Kiwi Karma ran credibly to finish 4th for a 3-year-old filly, and provided she takes this race well, is likely to contest some of Singapore's best sprint races. She was ridden very positively, and in a field with this quality that may have worked against her. The two hard luck stories came from Zach Spirit and last year's winner Lucky 9. Both looked a picture in the parade ring. For both, the race could not have gone more horribly wrong. Zach Spirit was taken back and did find some traffic even before they straightened up. He looked like a horse that was just going through the motions thereafter, and it won't be long before he shrugs this off and runs into the winner's circle again. Lucky 9 got chopped twice, and on the second occasion it was bad enough for him to change to the wrong lead. Once he got into the home straight, he was on the rail, but even there daylight for him really didn't come till it was too late. The winner has done it from the front, made himself a target for the others, and held them all off with possibly something in hand. A really good victory. And it's time to slip into a short break, and we will be back on Horse Sense in just an instant. Welcome back to Horse Sense, the biggest weekend of racing in Singapore climaxes with the Singapore Airlines International Cup. $3 million is the purse, and many champions have travelled from other parts of the world to enter the annals of history. The 2015 Group 1 Singapore Airlines International Cup saw 11 horses come into the parade ring for the contest to be run over 2,000 meters on the short course. Number 1 Military Attack, ridden by Zach Burton, trained by Casper Founds, drawn 3. Number 2 Dan XL, trained by John Moore, ridden by Tommy Berry, drawn 10. Number 3 Minor Frost from Japan, Matsuoka picks up the ride for Takagi, drawn 8. Number 4 Smoking Sun, Pascal Barry, Stefan Pasquier rides this, drawn 1. Number 5 Johnny Guitar, Morera picks up the ride for Pat Shaw, drawn 4. Number 6 Quechua, ridden by Corey Brown, Pat Shaw, drawn 7. Number 7 Step It Up, Laurie Laxon trains this one, Michael Nunez rides, drawn 9. Number 8 Cuptado, Baron Voster picks up the ride for Pat Shaw, drawn 6. Freeport Lux, Mikel Barcelona for Freddie Head, drawn 2. Number 10 Slew of Load, also from Pat Shaw's stable, drawn 5 with Juglal on board. And number 11 is Wild Geese from Stephen Burridge's yard, Craig Newitt picks up the ride, drawn 11. In the parade ring, the opinion was divided. Military Attack had landed the 2013 edition of the SIA Cup and was back in contention this year to stake his claim on the crown, despite possibly not having the same form that he had had in 2013. He had travelled well, however, and was not one to be trifled with. John Moore had trained him in 2013 and knew him as well as he knew his charge and defending champion, Dan XL, who had beaten Military Attack here last year. Losing horses is never pleasant, and having lost charge of Military Attack to Casper Founds for Moore, the successful defense would be all the more sweet. Minor Frost was coming into the contest on the back of a 4th place in the recent Group 2 victory in Japan. He had run 3rd in the Japanese Derby last year, and with a prep race victory for this event in April, was ready to raise the Japanese flag on the Singapore map this year. Smoking Sun from France was 2nd last year and looked possibly better this year in the parade ring. Pat Shaw had a strong hand of local contenders and in a sense had thrown the proverbial kitchen sink at this race. Johnny Guitar was one of them and was coming into this contest on the back of a 3rd place in the Group 3 Admiralty Classic Stakes over 1600 meters on the turf. While clearly better over the mile, he wasn't without a chance. Slew of Load was the 2nd. Racing in the Fred Grabbier Silks, made famous by Rocket Man, he was also one who would possibly need to tap deep into his reserves to get the trip. And it was possibly the 2014 Gold Cup winner over 2200 meters, Quechua, who gave Pat Shaw his best chance here.
There's one or two question marks. Slew of Load, whether he stays or not, he's doubtful. But I think we'll ride him differently. We'll ride him cold and ride him to run on. Johnny Guitar, another one who also a little bit doubtful if he sees out to 2,000 meters. But a guy like Joe Moreira on, anybody can judge a horse better than Joe, as you wouldn't want anybody else. So, and with a barrier, Joe can judge. He's barrier 4, so Joe can take it from there. And then obviously Quetch is in form. He's obviously in a form. His last 5 runs have been impeccable.
Another who would be suited by this trip would be Step It Up. Laurie Laxon trained Step It Up, had run with Quechua, and the Steve Burridge trained Wild Geese and Slew of Load in the QE2 over 2,000 meters on the 26th of April. With Step It Up getting the better of Quechua by just a nose, the two would again cross swords. Both had held Wild Geese into 4th and on paper continued to look better with a kilo more on their back on that occasion. Shaw's 4th runner in the race was his latest tenant, Cuptado. Cuptado, who would be making his debut on the Singapore racetrack, had won the Argentine Derby over longer and had also won a listed race at Meydan on the dirt over the winter.
Horse like Cuptado, I don't know that much about. I'm learning about him. I've had him 3 weeks now, and the more I'm seeing every day, the more he's looking better on the eye. Doug did say that he took him out of work a little bit after the Dubai Carnival, and it was a bit of a rush to get him back because we gelded him in between as well. I wanted him gelded before the race because apparently he sweated up very badly and it was a bit coltish. So, but the more, like I say, I only wish I had an extra 2 or 3 weeks to have been a lot better. But at the moment he's doing well as can be, and we'll just hopefully he runs a great race for the owners.
The field was rounded off by Freeport Lux from France, trained by the illustrious Freddie Head. A Group 3 victory 3 starts ago had been followed up by a 5th in the Group 2 Prix de Harcourt in France, his only appearance this season, and he'd be one who'd be much fitter coming into this one today. With that, the horses left the parade ring with Dan Excel the favourite. We'll slip into a short break here on Horse Sense and be right back with the Singapore Airlines International Cup 2015. Welcome back to Horse Sense. With the clock ticking down at Kranji for the big race, the Singapore Airlines International Cup 2015, it wasn't long before the horses were safely loaded and ready to go.
Gates are back and they're racing in the Cup. Freeport Lux was slowly into stride. Military Attack away quickly, and Dan Excel is coming across, and Tommy Berry's going to take him straight to the lead here. Dan Excel over Military Attack. Minor Frost getting a little keen, getting up on the outside of Quechua going forward. Step It Up is ridden up on the outside. They were followed by Johnny Guitar. Smoking Sun gets a lovely spot over on the inside. Coptado is up a little wider from Slew of Load. Freeport Lux and Wild Geese went back to the rear. Into the back they go, and Dan Excel shows the way as they go to the final 1,400 metres in the Cup. It's Dan Excel over Minor Frost in second. Military Attack is third over on the fence from the Gold Cup winner Quechua. Smoking Sun's nice and handy over on the inside. Step It Up hasn't been able to get in. They were followed by Johnny Guitar, Freeport Lux, Slew of Load. Coptado is out wider on the track and about 2 lengths away last of all Wild Geese. Down the back they go in the Singapore Airlines International Cup, and Dan Excel trying to lead throughout. It goes by the 1,000, a halfway leading over Minor Frost, travelling strongly on the outside. Military Attack in the green over on the fence from Quechua. Smoking Sun will need a little bit of luck but travels nicely. Step It Up going up wider, followed by Johnny Guitar, Freeport Lux. Coptado out wider on the track from Wild Geese, improving around the outside of Slew of Load. Down towards the bend they come in the Cup, and Dan Excel's had a lovely run in the lead as they go by the 600 metres. Dan Excel over Minor Frost, edging closer. Keshwar goes up a little wider, followed by Military Attack, who's enjoyed a lovely run. Step It Up under Persuasion as they turn in, followed by Johnny Guitar. Smoking Sun trying to improve over on the inside, then Cope Tato. 300 metres to go. Dan Excel led by a half length over Minor Frost. Military Attack is pushing into the clear. Keshwar down the outside, but Dan Excel shakes them off, gets away from Military Attack, coming hard on the outside. Dan Excel, Military Attack coming at him. Dan Excel in front, he's going to go back to back. Dan Excel gets it for Tommy Berry. He looks to the heavens with brotherly love, and Dan Excel wins it over Military.
It was a super ride, and George just had him, that fresh that he absolutely got across with ease to lead them up and set his own speed. And the ride was a gem, of course, to be able to do that at this level of competition. But I'm over the moon to win 3 in a row, to come to Singapore, my old stomping ground, and as I said, to win 3 in a row. Well, we'll be back next year, maybe with Dan Excel again, long in the tooth, but I'm really hoping that he pulls up okay after this. But it's just shown that even after surgery, you can bring a horse back to win at the top level. So congratulations to Jonathan Lumsden at REC in Sydney that did the op on him, and to Muskoka Farm, who also did all the work with respect to rehabbing him, and then to Hong Kong and the staff. Without the staff, I wouldn't be here today.
Especially when he hasn't been around this way too often. The rail really helps them find their way around the course, and he gave me a great ride again today, and he was quick out of the machines. He relaxed well for me in front, and showed that devastating turn of foot. But look, all the credit's got to go to John. He had a big hiccup in Melbourne when he was getting ready for the Cox Plate, and that didn't work out. But he got him back to Hong Kong, got him right, and back to win this race again. And it was an unbelievable effort by John and the horse.
And you shrugged off the Japanese horse, and then you had Military Attack come at you. He just seems to dig in deep and find so much more, doesn't he?
Yeah, you watch him, he pins his ears back, he stretches out really well, and he's a real dog fighter. If it's a dog fight, he'll win it every time. But if they've got a good turn of foot, sometimes they can get past him. That's usually the only time he gets beat, when he's over the mile and that. But he's a good 2,000 metre horse, and when he gets to that trip, which they don't have too many of them races in Hong Kong, he's very hard to beat.
And for you winning this one, what does it mean? Where does it rank?
Well, to win it 2 years in a row, it's right up there with the best of them. It's always very special coming back to Singapore. I love it here, and the crowd really are welcoming to me being here, and always good to win another Group 1 for Nathan.
I can't believe it. No horse has ever won this race twice. Dan Excel has created history, and all credit to John Moore, who trained this horse to perfection. All credit to Tommy Berry, who rode him to perfection tonight. And thank you so much, Singapore, for putting this wonderful event on and allowing us to come here again and win the Cup again. And congratulations, Hong Kong.
Taking a look at the race again, there are not too many significant hard luck stories as there were in the sprint. Dan Excel was given a brilliant ride by Tommy Berry, and while some might wonder why he was given such an easy position in front after getting a wide draw, there was really no other horse that could commit to going to the front. What is significant is that up the straight, he used his turn of foot to quicken away from the Japanese horse, even as Military Attack had to switch around horses to get his run home. Military Attack just for an instant had to hold off on his run when Minor Frost shifted out in front of him, but the winner had made a decisive move and gone by then. Keshwar ran a brave race to finish third. Step It Up may have been a bit unlucky having travelled wide all the way, and this run is best ignored. He did look as well as he's ever done in the pre-race proceedings. At the end of the day, however, the best horse did in fact win.
Now it gives me great pleasure to invite Mr. Teo Chi Hien to present the trophy to the winning owner of this year's Singapore Airlines International Cup, the race won by Dan Excel. Please make welcome David Boehm. Trophy to go nicely alongside the trophy from last year. We do love having the terrifically talented Hong Kong horses here in Singapore, and they're really dominating, and yet again 1-2 in our great race of the year. Well done to David with his horse Dan Excel. Well, the winning trainer yet again, John Moore. Well done to John, winning the race. Of course, he trained Military Attack to victory, and Dan Excel the last couple of years. And he's a great supporter of Singapore racing. It's great to have him here, and he deserves the success with his horse, Dan Excel. Congratulations go to John Moore. And the winning jockey, one of our favourites, Tommy Berry. Well done to Tommy. Able to work across from gate number 10, get a relatively easy lead. He had the Japanese horse outside him, but in the home straight there was plenty to offer for Dan Excel, and he held off Military Attack. Our congratulations go to Tommy Berry. Now we'd like to invite Mr. Teo Chi Hien and all to remain on the dais for a special group photograph.
Well, and to the victor belongs the spoils. What a super event it's been here in Singapore. Congratulations to the Singapore Turf Club. And of course, to all the victors, to all those who have come here, seen and conquered. I'm Mohit Lalvani, thanking you for joining me. And as always, may the horse be with you. Goodbye.